Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Gurudev, Dandavat, and warmest wishes for Janmashtami here from Vrindavan. By Gurudev's wish, we continue our study today of Manah Siksa by Raghunathas Goswami, the instructions to the mind, with the nectar commentary by Anantadas Babaji. As we go along, we discover that Manah Siksha is about the mind, yes. It's instructions to the mind, but it's instructions about bringing the mind close to the heart, and even bringing the mind so close to the heart that heart and mind become nearly indistinguishable, non-different. In some translations of the word mana from Sanskrit, we actually use the word heart. Heart or mind. So, Manah Siksha is not just a little book, a little prayer about controlling the mind, some kind of meditation practice, but rather it's about bringing devotion to the mind, and rather maybe even bringing the mind to devotion. So it's about using the mind to find renunciation, surrender, humility. It's about encouraging the mind to associate with like-minded devotees, those with soft hearts, and that lets us soften our own hearts. It's about bringing the mind to chanting, to hearing, and ultimately surrendering to Radha more. So what we discover all along the way is the connection between mind and soul, mind and heart. It's a very intimate and very mysterious connection. The mind, I want my power. The mind doesn't feel, and the soul doesn't think, but somehow there's an effect of feeling in the mind, and there's an effect of thinking in the soul. It's been a stormy day, so I'll have to ask for your mercy, I think, many times with both internet and electricity. We had finished the first teaching to the mind, the Siksha 1, and we had started the last time the second teaching to the mind. The first teaching was an encouragement to the mind to learn to love, and a discussion about all the different ways that the mind can be led to love, and the way that the mind can lead the heart, open the heart, soften the heart to love. The second teachings, the second Siksha, was more about, as we began last time, it was more about worship, devotional practice. Once the heart has been softened with love, then it's a one-way street to perfecting our devotional practice. And we had discussed together with Anantadas Babaji several themes that are well known to us. For example, that devotional practice must begin with feeling, that our minds can lead us to a position of practice, but we need to begin the practice by feeling. And the moment feeling begins, really, no matter what kind of feeling, then there's bhakti happening. There is no feeling which is not a feeling towards another. And if that feeling is towards another, it's toward the feelings of another. So if there's feeling, there's heart. If there's heart, there's soul. If there's feeling, there's the heart of another. And if there's feeling, there's the soul of another. So the moment the very first atom of feeling appears, we're doing bhakti. We're on the path. We're on the way. And then our challenge becomes only how to perfect it, how to purify our practice. There was some discussion and some verses about the difference between Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti being practice which springs spontaneously from the heart, and Vaidhi Bhakti, which is practice which comes through the set regulations and rules of legitimate practice. And Anantadas Babaji was very keen, trying very hard to show that the way that these two blend into each other. That when we talk about the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, we're not talking about a contradiction. We're not talking about enemies. But rather that regulative practices put us in a position to open the heart. So that for many, maybe even for most devotees, bhakti begins with Vaidhi. And Vaidhi can lead us to the temple, can lead us to puja, can lead us to singing the song that suddenly awakens the emotion in our heart. Bhakti doesn't need religious structures, but the religious structures can put us in a position to begin bhakti. We talked last time, following Anantadas Babaji, about material service and spiritual service. And the material service is service done in the material world, obviously, guided by the mind, but which can contribute to spiritual service. So we remember that we're often invited to meditate on the image of Radha, to meditate on the vision of beautiful Krishna, to meditate on the dream of Manjaris, and that this will awaken in our souls a spiritual consciousness, so that material activities can have an impact on spiritual service. Then the last thing I think we talked about was this idea of the reality of feelings. Or maybe we put it in terms last time of just reality. What is real? And I tried to describe the difference between modern Western thinking about what is real. What is real in the West, in modern science, is facts. What can be measured with a measuring bar, what can be measured with a thermometer, what can be seen with the material senses, heard with material ears, and so forth. That's what's real. So if I say to someone in a scientific laboratory, I saw an angel last night, then they will say, well, how tall was the angel and how much did the angel weigh? What was the color? And so on and so forth. Whereas, and even you have this partly in in traditions of Eastern philosophy and Eastern spirituality. But in bhakti, unlike any other practice, the king of reality, the queen of reality, is feeling. Reality is determined by feelings. And I mentioned this, I think, at the very last thing last week. I mentioned this line from the Upanishads, Yad Bhavanta Bhavati. What is feeling becomes reality. Nothing that is material will endure. No material pleasure will endure. No material perception will endure. Feelings that put an imprint on our soul will be there forever.
Either when I was, thinking that when I woke up, I was like, oh, we have class, and then I went. Okay, I'll teach.
So we were in the commentary by Anantadas Babaji about service, about material service and spiritual service. And we ended with a question in the commentary about what kind of service we should do. How should we do service? And Anantadas Babaji then gives an answer to this, his own question, really. And he introduces the concept of prachura paricharya, which means abundant service. So here's what he says about that. There is an endless variety of ways in which one can think of these services with one's siddhadeha. Therefore, Sri Raghunathas speaks of prachura paricharya, an abundance of devotional service. So, paricharya means service or worship or even care. We talk about paricharya, taking good care of Gurudev, or we talk about mundir paricharya, taking care, worshipping, respecting, showing devotion. So paricharya is care or devotion or worship. And prachurya then is plentiful, overflowing, abundant. So we have in this idea that Raghunathas puts in the verse, prachura paricharya, abundant service. Service that goes beyond, service that is ever coming, that's always coming, always flowing. And remember, it's a theme we've talked about many times, that it is not important, it's less important what the service is itself, although this is important. It's less important what the service is, what we do in concrete terms. What is important is the emotion with which we do it. It's the heart with which we do it. It's the spiritual energy with which the service is done. It's the spiritual energy that flows from our soul to the one, to the heart, to the soul we are serving. So in other words, when Raghunath Das Goswami speaks in this teaching about prachura paricharya, abundance of service, what he's really meaning is abundance of feeling. Service done with overflowing feeling. Service done with feeling that's ever growing. And what we learn as we go deeper in our practice is that the more we go deeper into our hearts, the closer we come to our own soul consciousness, our own soul identity, our own svarup, the more that feeling is flowing, the more the quantity of feeling is coming so that we can imagine being in Siddhadeha, in our spiritual body, in our perfected body, and feeling flowing absolutely freely. Only feeling coming. No more material consciousness at all. Only a relation to other souls through pure feeling. We can only imagine this, of course, and the great acharyas amongst us can witness this for us. And indeed, what acharyas are writing is something like that. How their experience of the world is from feeling that flows without an end. It's like water flowing up from a source which is bottomless, which never empties out. Babaji comments now, while worshipping the divine couple in this way, Sri Raghunath Das instructs his mind to see Sri Satchidananda, Satchinandana, which is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Nandanandana, Sri Krishna himself, in the mood of Sri Narottam Das, who writes the following. So I'll repeat. Raghunath Das instructs his mind to see Chaitanya as Krishna, as it is described now in a song, in one line of a song by Narottam Das. And here's the line. He who is the prince of Braj has now become the son of Mother Sachi. Sachi is the mother of Chaitanya, of course. So Krishna has become Chaitanya. And so what much of the rest of Babaji's commentary is about what that means. What does it mean that Krishna becomes Chaitanya? And it means the first step in that realization is probably something like, instead of seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a simple man, we see the same soul as the son of a mother. So he's described as the son of his own mother, Shri Satchidananda, so the son of Sachi. Son of a mother is a son, is a soul already in a particular mood, the mood of the. It's a soul who's already in connection. Even before any Krishna realization, he's already in the mood of a mother. And the starting point for his realization of himself as Krishna and his activity in the first half of his life as a devotee of Krishna comes from this motherly love. To understand this, we can do a thought experiment, or rather it's a heart experiment. Spend 1 hour of your life, maybe tomorrow sometime, set off 1 hour and look at every person you see as the son of a mother or the daughter of a mother. Don't look at an adult. Look at the son or the daughter of a mother and see how that changes your understanding of them. The kind ones, you see the kindness of the mother. The misbehaving ones, you see the confused understanding of the mother's love. And what we would call the evil ones, the criminals, the nasty ones, who are desperately missing the mother, the love of the mother. We can see the whole world and open our hearts and raise our consciousness of the mood of the heart by just considering the world in this way. And that's only the first step. That's only the first step for Chaitanya. And the next step is, of course, his realization at a very young age of his own soul consciousness as Krishna. Part of the challenge of that experiment is that you can't do it with your mind. When you see someone as a son or a daughter, it's only through the heart. You can only feel that. You can only understand that person by putting yourself in the heart of that person and feeling and remembering with your heart and understanding the feelings that they have in relation to that innocent and perfect source of love. Babaji comments now. He's commenting on this relationship between Krishna, Chaitanya as the son of a mother, and Krishna. He says, the purport here is that in previous ages, even the great sages were hardly able to enter into the confidential worship of Radha and Krishna. So all the great sages, all the demigods, all the jivas of the past before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could not or had difficulty in entering in a confidential relationship. That means a spiritual relationship with Radha and Krishna. But once we conceive of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the son of a mother, then a certain door has been opened. And he is the one to establish this relationship with Radha and Krishna by embodying it, and then to communicate it to his devotees, communicate it to his associates, to the Goswamis, and so on. So throughout the history of spiritual life, East and West, souls did not consider themselves as feeling. A soul was a scientific idea. And it's with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we understand that it's immediately, our soul is immediately available to us if we realize that our soul is feeling. And that's why this motherly love is such a key to understanding this. Never before was it understood that anyone with a heart, anyone with a soul, can immediately, without qualification, enter into a relationship with God. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brings to us. This realization that it's not by following the rules for a lifetime or maybe 1,000 lifetimes. It's by opening the heart, and immediately you're there. Immediately you have the spark of the divine. Immediately you see the spark in the divine, and you can follow it like a lighthouse on a stormy ocean. Like I like to say to you that all of you here have this. All of you have this spark. That's why you're there. That's why you're here. And so now your task is not to discover your heart. You've discovered it. You've taken the most difficult step, but to deepen it, to follow that light from the lighthouse deeper into your svarup, into your spiritual self, your spiritual identity. So Babaji is saying that before Chaitanya, we couldn't have a devotional relationship to God. We could have an intellectual relationship. We could have an authoritative relationship, almost a kind of political relationship. But devotional relationship became immediately available to us. Let's be clear, it's not that devotion was forbidden or something. And certainly there were souls who had a devotional relationship with Krishna before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it clear that all we have to do to establish this relationship is to open the eyes, or rather open the heart. It's right there. You don't have to be a great scholar. You don't have to be a follower of the Vedic traditions for thousands of lifetimes in order to establish this relationship. You don't have to follow blindly. You don't have to do it out of duty. You don't have to do it out of fear. In the Vedic tradition, we refer to God like a king, like someone with power, like a king, like a tyrant, someone who likes to command, someone who likes to be feared, someone who likes to be obeyed. And now we discover God as someone who likes to be loved. So much loved, so much likes to be loved that he'll do anything for his devotees' love. He makes the devotee the God when the devotee gives love. Chaitanya reveals Krishna as one who's so in love with love that he sees the loving devotee as higher than himself. So this connection to God is one of love, one of feeling, one of emotion. And there are traces of it through the Vedas. There are many traces of it, of course, in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and before deeper, but this immediate relation through devotion is something very, very new. And it appears then because, as we learn in the Adi Lila chapter 4, that Krishna enjoyed the devoted love of all his devotees and said, well, I wonder what they're experiencing. So he was always the perfect object of love and found love wonderful. He was the enjoyer of love. He found that wonderful. But being the giver of love to God, being the subject of love for God, this, he said, I don't know. What is that? It must be greater than me. And indeed, what we learn in Bhakti is that it is greater than him. Higher than being God the beloved, Mohan, is being God the lover, Radha. Giving love to God is the highest. Being the subject of love of God is the highest thing. The giver of love to God, there's nothing higher. So Krishna says, you know the story from Chaitanya, from Adi Lila 4. Krishna says, I want to take that position of lover of God. I want to put my heart in the mood of the lover of God. And then, thirdly, I want to give that love to God. I want to do that. And so Krishna says, well, what form should that love take? How should I accomplish this very strange and beautiful task? Well, he looks around and sees all the gopis who adore him, who have deep, deep love for him. And he says, well, this is the experience I want to have. And he looks to the gopi with the deepest love for him, the greatest gopi, the greatest lover, the most splendid gopi, who is Radha. And so he accepts the mood and the position and this practice of radha. The position of radha, the mood of radha, and the soul of Krishna. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realizes particularly in his later, the second half of his leelas on this earth. Babaji explains this story, which many of you know quite well, but it's so beautiful that it's worth repeating anytime, I think. But Babaji explains it this way. He says, Rajendra Nandana then became greedy after his own sweetness in the mood of Srimati Bandhu Nandini, accepted her mood and complexion, and thus became Gaura, golden, relishing the sweetness of Braj Lila himself and teaching his devotees how to relish this also. Rajendra Nandana, so the son of the king of Braj, who is Krishna, then became greedy after his own sweetness, which he has never known to give to others, only to relish in. He becomes greedy after his own sweetness in the mood of Srimati Banu Nandini, so the daughter of the sun, who is, of course, Radha. He accepted her mood and complexion, golden, becoming Gaura, and relished the sweetness of the Braj Lila himself. And now the important part, teaching his devotees how to relish this also. So first he puts himself in this position and appears and relishes giving the love. And immediately he shares this with the devotees. That's us. Immediately he shares with us this capacity to give divine love, to put ourselves in the mood and the position of Radha. And that is bhakti. To serve the position of Radha in her eternal gift of sweetness to Mohan. This is Manjari Bhav. He teaches his devotees how to relish this, says Babaji. He teaches his devotees Manjari Bhav. Because what is it to relish Radha giving love to Mohan? That is to observe it, to serve it, to support it, to enable it. That is Manjari Bhav. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us. Babaji quotes now one of the many wonderful songs by Narottam Das Thakur, which is cited in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That happens actually quite often. And this song says so much about this strange and wonderful relationship between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll just read the translation, English translation. The pastimes of Krishna are the quintessence of nectar, and hundreds of streams emanate from it, forming an endless lake of Chaitanya pastimes. Make your swan-like mind swim in this shoreless nectar lake. I'll repeat, but listen, there's lots of reservoirs, there's lots of liquids, there's lots of flowing, lots of rivers. And the final instruction comes, and it is also an address to the mind, isn't it? That last line was, make your swan-like mind your perfectly pure mind swim in this shoreless nectar lake. But I'll repeat the whole thing. It's so nice. The pastimes of Krishna are the quintessence of nectar. Krishna Lilamrita Sara, essence of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes. So what he does in the Vrindavan forest, what Krishna does as Radha Mohan is the essence of nectar. And already nectar is the essence of juice. So now we have the essence of ras. It's so overwhelming, overflowing that from there hundreds and hundreds of streams flow. Tara Shata Shata Dara. It gives hundreds and hundreds of streams. So there's so much in this ocean of ras that it flows in every different direction into the world, streaming down to the devotees so that they can relish it as well. And it forms an endless lake of Chaitanya pastimes. That's the Radha Mohan pastimes, which it doesn't come in the translation, but it says Dasha Diga Boya Hoita, which flows in 10 directions from the Chaitanya pastime. So lots of flowing in rivers. That lake is endless. That lake of Chaitanya's pastimes, that is the pastimes of Radha and Mohan, is endless, inexhaustible. So let the swan of your mind, the pureness of your mind, swim in that shoreless nectar lake, so endless nectar lake. And there you will experience the fullness of this emotion. So it's typical for Narottam Das Thakur, this kind of song, so full of feelings, so nice at describing feelings as nectar and streams and the white swan of the mind. But maybe to summarize it, it says something like, well, if we realize feelings of Chaitanya, the feelings of Radha and Mohan as embodied in Chaitanya, then we can get a taste of the quintessence of Krishna's nectar, the quintessence of Krishna's emotions. So once again, Krishna, as he discovered himself before Chaitanya, was this ocean of feeling. And it's through taking the mood of Radha that he finds the way to express that feeling on a divine level through Radha's Ladani Shakti, her energy. The waves, as Gurudev teaches us, the waves of Radha on the ocean of this nectar, then we can get a taste, we devotees, we jivas can get a taste of that nectar of Krishna's endless ocean of feeling, of rasa. Or to put it even in a more shorter version, the Vrindavan pastimes, what we read about in Vilapa Kusmanjari and Radha Rasa Sudhaniti, these are the emotions of Krishna. That is the ocean. And by reading these pastimes, we feel the waves breaking across our own spiritual bodies. We're in that water and we feel the waves splashing us, and the splashes move us and push us and make us wet and make us uneasy and make us delighted. This is the feelings that are Krishna's. And they're made relishable for us by the waves of Radha's energy. The energy of Radha's waves. So again, it's from Krishna that the ras flows, but it flows through the energy, the Ladani Shakti the pleasure-giving energy of radha in all its forms, all over the world, to everyone. If Chaitanya, in the first half of his life, his first 22 years, I think, before he took sannyas, if he is an incarnation of Krishna, in the second part of his life, he becomes, I don't want to say pipeline, but he becomes the river through which the emotions of Krishna can be experienced by all jivas. The river through which the nectar can be felt, touched by everyone, always as a function of the softness of our own hearts. It's not an action, it's not an accident, sorry. It's not an accident that the more our hearts are soft, the more we feel. The more we love with our hearts, the more we feel. This is the basic geometry of Krishna consciousness. Krishna gives love to his devotees corresponding to the love he gives to them. Guru gives love to devotees corresponding to the love we give to him. In fact, Guru gives back to us. Guru is a mirror of our souls and mirrors back exactly what we give to him. We give him a little bit, he'll mirror back. He'll hold up a mirror and we'll see a little bit of ourselves. We give him everything through surrender, he'll hold up a mirror and show us our soul. This is Guru, this is Krishna. Spirituality is not seeing something different from ourselves, it's seeing ourselves. And seeing the divine in ourselves, seeing the divine essence of our own souls. Babaji continues, this is why the devotees think of Sri Gaura, relishing the pastimes of Radha Krishna before meditating on that particular Radha Krishna Lila. That is why we start with the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So sometimes Gurudev says, well, Bhagavad Gita, this is high school, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is university, and Vilapa Kusumanjari, this is PhD. Or maybe Bhagavad Gita is university, Chaitanya Charitamrita is PhD, and then Vilapa Kusumanjari is postdoctoral level. That if we understand the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Babaji is saying, then we can understand how he and why he embodies this special kind of loving relation between Radha and Mohan. So by advancing from devotee of Krishna, which is what Chaitanya began as, to a consciousness of being the spiritual awareness of the relation between Radha and Mohan as Krishna, then we can better understand our own souls. So we need to understand both parts of Chaitanya's life, as a devotee to Krishna, and then as a awareness that spiritual consciousness means consciousness of Radha Mohan Lila. Babaji goes on, in this way, the worship of the Raganugya Gaudiya Vaishnavas becomes very beautiful and expert as they meditate on the eternal daily pastimes of Sri Gauranga, alongside with the eternal pastimes of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. It's like homework plan that Babaji is giving us. And if I remember, it's the way we started our reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 4 about 6 months ago. That we need to follow the material manifestation of the divine in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in order to understand the spiritual consciousness that he is. So we need to understand him as a man embodying, as an avatar of Krishna, a man embodying Krishna and devotee, and all the passions that involve, all the pain that involved, all the ecstasy and all the suffering, all the ecstasy in suffering, the suffering in ecstasy. We need to have an awareness of that in order to understand the love in separation that the Leela of Radha and Mohan is. So it's very, very good to have an awareness of the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can read a long biography like Chaitanya Charitamrita, or you can read a very tiny biography like we find, for example, like Srila Prabhupada has given us. I want my power again. 1 minute, we'll see if Gaura Sundara comes. Maybe not. All right. Carry on. Let's see if I can read. Now, there it comes. There it comes. He was a little slow, Gaura Sundara, but he came. He arrived. Now. So it's a study plan. Yes, that's what I was saying. It's a study plan that Babaji is giving us. Read Prabhupada's little book about Chaitanya, or he has a bigger book about Chaitanya as well, or he has the very big book about Chaitanya called Chaitanya Charitamrita, or there are other sources to understand this amazing life and how it was mixed with pleasure and difficulty, and the way it inspired his associates in Puri at the end of his life, but also the 6 Goswamis and others, all of whom created the philosophy and the practice of bhakti. Now, Babaji continues, and he's kind of working his way down through the teaching, the verse. He says, then Sri Raghunath Das thinks of his guru as being Sri Mukunda's dearmost devotee. The scriptures always order the devotees to think of the guru as being non-different from the beloved deity. So now we begin, as you can hear, a discussion about relation between devotee and guru and Krishna, which was one that Srila Prabhupada has written very, very helpful books about as well. But here we're with Ananta Das Babaji, and he is saying, well, Guru is not a deity, but Guru is in a pure devotional relation with deity. And from a certain point of view, this means that Guru is deity. We could say the same about a jiva, an ordinary jiva like you. You are a part and parcel of the divine. As you advance in your soul realization, you become more purely that part and parcel of the divine. When you reach Siddha Deha, you will be a pure part of the divine. So you are not God. You will not be God, sorry, but you will be everything that God represents in the soul. You will have all the qualities of God, but not the quantity of soul, to put it in that way. So I think this is what Babaji means, that Guru is in a very pure devotional relation to the deity, and that for practical purposes is almost the same. The Babaji talks about Raghunath's Guru as being Mukunda's, Krishna's dearmost devotee. So you remember that Raghunath is, his Siksa Guru is Rupa Goswami. His actual Guru, his Diksha Guru was another, a disciple of Advaita Acharya. I can't remember who. But certainly his Siksa Guru, his instructing Guru was Rupa. And Rupa begins the Guru Parampara. He was the dearmost devotee of Mukunda, says Babaji. And by saying, underlining dearmost, he's underlining the fact that Guru is a relation of love. Guru is a relation of friendship. Just day before yesterday, Guru said in morning class, look, my devotees are my friends. My devotees are my friends, he said. I want them to be my friends. They are my friends. Now, Babaji is explaining then that the Guru is a relationship of love, not a relationship of power, not a relationship of glory, and not a relationship of law and order, or some kind of exchange of money or services. No. All that Guru wants is a relationship of pure love with you. And in order to have that, he needs to help you to find the path to your soul. The only way that Guru can enjoy your love purely is by you finding your love purely. And like I said a moment ago, Guru does nothing more than hold up to you a mirror of your own soul. And when your soul becomes fully, unblocked, when the clutter of material illusion and false ego is cleaned away, dusted away and polished, then you will be loving purely Guru, but not only. You will be loving purely your fellow devotees, and you will be loving purely Radha Mohan. So as Gurudev often repeats, Guru is not the goal, but Guru is, by your surrender to Guru, he's the one who will show you yourself. And again, I repeat, but sorry, it's worth repeating 100 times. The more you surrender to Guru, the more you will understand yourself. That's it. Surrendering to Guru is not understanding Guru. Surrendering to Guru is not becoming a slave or something. Surrendering to Guru by devotional service is surrendering to the divine, the Radha Mohan in your own soul. And this is what Guru shows through, let's see, everything on now? Yes. By giving us the mirror of our soul, of our heart. Sorry to repeat, it's so elegantly simple. It's so simple. And I know that I spent many years personally making it very complicated. going round and round, and what does that mean, and what do I do, and what should I do, and what do I need? Just surrender, and everything comes. So Gurudev makes this very sweet joke that most of us, to find the way to our nose, we go around the head instead of just popping right onto the nose. And in my spiritual path, I left the head completely, and I went around the block, and I went around the street, and gradually I'm coming back to the nose. So I know what I'm talking about. I know the lost devotee story, and it's still going on, but I can testify from my experience. Babaji now quotes Bhagavatam from the 11th canto, a very simple verse, which Krishna, most of the 11th canto of Bhagavatam is Krishna instructing Uddhava. To Uddhava's surprise, Uddhava is his best friend, who's made an enormous spiritual journey, discovering that he had a heart, discovering that what the true love of the gopis means, and discovering that he had this love in him, his own heart. And in the 11th canto, Krishna, as you might know or remember, spends a lot of pages instructing Uddhava, because he said, now it's time for me to leave. You're on your own. So here's what you need to know about your heart and your heart's relation to me. And he says one little line. This is Bhagavatam. Acharyam mam vijanyat. Acharyam mam vijanyat. Know vijanyat. Know the Acharya to be me. And Acharya, Gurudev explained to us the day before yesterday, I think, what Acharya means. Acharya is the one who's realized the soul. And realize the soul means realize the soul of others. This applies not only to Krishna, this applies to Guru, to Acharyas, all Acharyas, but it applies to you as well, you and me. The more we realize the soul, the more we realize the souls of others. Because, of course, our souls are part and parcel of the same super soul. Just like Guru holds a mirror up to us, the souls of others act like mirrors to us too. The more I understand myself, the more I will understand you. The more I find love for myself, the more I will love you. And when one day, one lifetime, 1,000 lifetimes in the future, I become completely familiar with my Svarup, when I know my soul, then I will love you completely too. So when Krishna says to his dear friend Uddhava, know me to the one as the one who's a realized soul, live for the realization of the souls of others, give us everything you have from the soul. And that's all you need to know. 3 little words. Understand that the goal is this soul realization. Not because when we realize the soul, we realize that the soul is made for loving, or that the soul is love. Prema Mayi. The more you feel yourself, the more you will feel for others, all others, not just your husband or your children or your guru. The more you feel yourself, the more you soften the heart, the more love you will have for everyone. This is what Krishna is teaching. go further now, Babaji quotes Adi Lila, let's see, chapter 1. He says, the scriptures have proven that the Guru is a form of Krishna. A form of Krishna. And then without explaining, Babaji continues with a quote from Jiva Goswami from his Bhakti Sandarbha, which is one of his 6 books of theory of Bhakti. And Jiva writes something even more interesting. Jiva Goswami writes, he says, but the pure devotees see the Guru as well as Shri Shiva as being non-different from the Supreme Lord on the strength of their being his dearmost beloveds. The language is a little bit bumpy, so let's repeat. The pure devotees see the Guru as well as Shri Shiva as non-different from the Supreme Lord. And then he says, well, why? Why do they see him as the same? Why does it seem like the Guru is the same? And then he answers his own question, or my question, because they are dearmost beloveds. So I think I stole this idea from Jiva Goswami 5 minutes ago when I said that Guru is not God, but Guru has the most pure, the closest and purest relationship of love to God. And that's why he's able to help us to find our way to our own souls, because he knows our own souls. He knows our souls. The pure devotees see the Guru as non-different from the Supreme Lord because of his being his dearmost beloved. Or to put it in a much more simple way, a pure devotee like a Guru, or a pure devotee like us, sees the Guru not as powerful, but as an expert lover, as the greatest lover. That's what Guru is. It's not the greatest king with the longest sword, the biggest army. It's the one with the purest heart. So when we talk about Guru Parampara, the tradition from one Guru to the next, we speak of this very often, of the heritage, of the tradition. We need to think carefully and meditate on what is that thing that's passed along. What is that thing that Chaitanya gave to Rupa, that Rupa gave to Raghunath, that our dear Radha Govinda Das Babaji gave to our dear Guru Dev, and that Guru Dev is using all his worldly energies to give to us? What is that thing? A big villa? A bank account? Some old letters from grandma? No. He's giving us the method of love. Mercy means showing how to love. Guru Kripa is not a thing. It's a method of opening the door of the heart. Someone showed our Guru how to open the hearts. Our Radha Govinda Das Babaji. And Guru Dev is using his forces to teach us how to open the heart. And oh, do we resist? Oh, we fight back. Oh, no, I can't open that part of my heart. No, I'll do that later. I'll do that when I'm alone. No, I'll do that when I'm with my girlfriend. So many reasons not to soften the heart. I've got to get work done. I've got to pick up the kids. No time for this now. I'll soften my heart later. So Babaji to this says, such devotees are very rare, the ones with the open hearts. Such devotees are very rare. Though, since Shri Jiva used the word Ekke, which means, of course, one, in this consciousness, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami always remembers his guru as being Mukunda's dear most beloved. So I'll cite you in the Sanskrit what Jiva wrote: Shuddha Bhaktas Tvi Ek Shri Guru, the one Guru, Ek Shri Guru. There is one with whom we have a perfectly pure, devotional, loving relationship. That is Guru. And then I think we're coming to the end of this this teaching. And now, let's see. Babaji is going to quote Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh no, I already did that one. I already read that one. Now he finishes by a long song, another long song or prayer by Narottam Das Thakur. And it's so inspired by this teaching, by the verse that Raghunath Das gave us, that you almost think that it's a copy. You tell me if you know what I mean. Maybe I'll read the teaching first, and then we'll finish with Narottam Das Thakur. Let me find it. There it is. So the second teaching, the second Shiksha, by Raghunath Das Goswami. O mind, don't follow any of the religious or irreligious paths which are prescribed or forbidden by the Vedas. Intently worship Radha and Krishna in Braj. Know that the son of Mother Sachi, again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the son of the king of Nandishvara, of course Krishna, and that the best of spiritual teachers is dear to Lord Mukunda. So we have all these themes again. First of all, focus on the Leela, Radha Mohan. Second, remember that Chaitanya is Krishna and Krishna is Chaitanya. And third, that a guru is nothing more, nothing less than one who is dear to Krishna and to whom Krishna is dear. That there's a loving relationship. So guru is this relationship to the divine. So now let's read Narottam Das Thakur. O mind, he writes, give up all the rules which are set by the Vedic scriptures, as well as all things which are forbidden there, like all religiosity and irreligiosity. Instead, day and night worship the feet of Radha and Krishna in Vraj, which are eternal and real, and which are the abode of love. Such a strong verse by Narottam Das. And so radical. Give up all the Vedas. Never mind. Never mind what's forbidden, what's good, bad. Instead, worship at the feet of Radha and Krishna in Braj. And that means don't worship Radha Don't worship Krishna. Worship what they're doing in Braj. Worship their love. We don't need another God. We don't need Radha all by herself as the goddess of love. We don't need Krishna all by himself as the goddess of enjoyment. Focus on the relationship. Focus on every relationship, any relationship, because in any relation there is love flowing. Sometimes very little, just a little drop. Sometimes oceans and oceans and oceans of love. So Narottam Das says, focus on that. And finally, what we also talked about already, focus on what is eternal and real. Remember, we said what is eternal and real is feelings, the abode of love. Here, there are a couple more verses to it, so I'm going to continue to this. We're still in this song this prayer by Narottam Das. He continues, O mind, another request to the mind. Raghunath and Narottam Das are a little bit bossy with the mind, but there's lots of love in it. He says, O mind, I humbly pray to you, worship the lotus feet of Gauranga in the mood of he who is the son of Rajendra and has now become the son of Mother Sachi. And he will give you priceless jewels of love, of God. So worship Krishna as that being who embodies love. Worship Krishna as Chaitanya, which means worship Krishna as the one who discovered that loving God is higher than God. That Radha's loving energy raises us higher than the love which Krishna represents. And if you do that, says Narottam Das, Krishna, will give you the priceless jewels of love of God. So if you do that, and exactly to the measure you do that, the amount of love and devotion you give to Radha and Mohan and their relation, you will receive the priceless jewels of love of God. Love of God is, of course, Prem. The more you are devoted to serving the love of Radha for Mohan, the more you will grow in your own, the more you will receive the jewels of love of God, the jewels of Prem. Further, one more. There are two more verses now. Narottam Das Thakur still. The Guru is Gaura Govinda's most beloved. For he is the form of Krishna who wanders from house to house, dedicated to destroy the darkness of illusion in the hearts of the conditioned souls. So the Guru is Gaura Govinda, Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya's most beloved. He's the most loved, not because he's the smartest or the most beautiful or the nicest or the richest, because he's the one who's most devoted to his devotees. He wanders from house to house. He wanders from devotee to devotee, the house of the heart. And he's dedicated to destroying the darkness of illusion. That means dedicated to helping us clean away the dust and rubble that's covering our own souls, our own ability to be the beloved of Gaura Govinda. And finally, O mind, worship the lotus feet of the Guru, whose pure body is the abode of Govinda's pastimes, and who has descended to save the fallen souls to delight the eyes, and to bestow upon us the chanting of the holy name and loving devotion. To put it very briefly, the gift of Guru is loving devotion. The Guru is the professor of loving. If Radha is the queen of loving, Guru is the teacher of loving at the level of every single devotee. There. That completes the Babaji's nectar commentary on the second Shiksha. So we can stop here. I see there's one question. From Kanai, thank you, Vaya. Is there another meaning of Acharya? I once heard that it means the one who teaches by his example. Is this also one meaning? My answer, and then I'm going to ask Gurudev to respond because he gave us such a beautiful sharing in morning class about this topic. My answer is yes. It's the one who's realized and who teaches by example, teaches by showing others what realized is.
When Guru will realize his spiritual body, his spiritual soul, then he will behave like that. The action will be changed. Activities, behavior will be changed. So activities is also like activities will be changed in that consciousness. His behavior will change. So it is not normal what we see. He's thinking, he's looking, he's understanding. So action is also, activity is also changing. That. Become normal because he's living in that. I admit it. What beautiful class.
So everything Acharya is doing is example for others.
Then he is Acharya. Like a Mahaprabhu. By his behavior. By Raghunath Das Goswami. Rupa Goswami's action. Like a nearmost people. How they behave. We follow that. And what they behave in Sarup consciousness. So that also what you say Sarup consciousness is important to change. If Sarup is not clear, I will never change myself. But change what is coming is different than others. Second step. First she practiced and then His behavior is changing in Sarup so much.
Yeah.
Jai Shri Radha.
Jai Shri Radha again. Loving wishes on Janmashtami. Everyone have a lovely evening or day.